Storm warnings and a tornado watch are in effect. Here's the view from the Chevy Mobile Weather Authority heading west in Genesee County. About 40 minutes ago, you see those gray clouds moving in. A short time later, those clouds had opened up. Heavy rain made it very hard to see. These storms are in addition to ongoing concerns about high water on Lake Ontario.
And we have live team coverage. 13 WHAM's Jim Madalinsky is there with a story about the very real danger of flooded homes along the lake. Amy Hudak spent the day with people cleaning up and bracing for more.
All of this is just what people along Lake Ontario do not need after a weekend of flooding. Cleaning up is difficult and often dangerous work. 13 WHAM's Jim Madalinsky is live on Payne Beach Road in Greece.
The heaviest of this storm and these rains just passed through, and it's the last thing people along Lakeshore Drive here in Greece want to see. You can see debris already still in some of these yards here in Greece near Payne Beach, even water building up as we speak from that heavy rain that just passed through. And today has been all about cleanup here. It's work Rick Salamone is lucky to be able to do. He learned firsthand yesterday about the potential dangers of these rising waters. Many along Payne Beach in Greece spent Monday looking over the damage. This is what's left of Rick Salamone's deck.
It's amazing the power of the water. It just tore it right in half.
That wasn't the scariest part of Salamone's day Sunday, though. He ended up in the hospital after he was shocked while trying to install a pump in his flooded yard.
As I'm putting the pump into the water, I guess from what we found out from electrician, the pump had a short in it. It kind of gave me a jolt up my feet.
Salamone was checked out at the hospital and is okay. He was back to work Monday, replacing washed away sandbags.
They could have been preparing for a funeral for me.
Down the street, Elizabeth Davis is happy she finally got some help. Water started rushing over her deck last week. Some of it now washed away.
The inside is what I'm trying to protect.
Devastation that many believe is just the beginning. A frustrating reality for Greecetown Supervisor Bill Rylick.
It's unfortunate, it's very frustrating because we can't solve their problem. We can just try and assist them to get through this.
A difficult process and plenty of work ahead. But for now, Salamone is just happy to be able to try and ride it all out.
I'm definitely counting my blessings.
Again, it was believed to have been a faulty wire that caused Salamone to be shocked, but still a good warning for people as you deal with these rising waters, and especially standing water like we're seeing right now, especially with the lake levels expected to continue to rise over the next few weeks. We're live in Greece tonight. Jim Madalinsky, 13 WHAM News.
All right, Jim, thank you. Edgemere Drive back open tonight after being shut down for nearly 24 hours because of extreme flooding.
As 13 WHAM's Amy Hudak reports, for many, the cleanup continued into this morning as homes flooded, experienced significant damage.
Well, Ginny and Doug, we're inside right now because it's actually so torrential out right now. We can't be outside. It's just too dangerous this time. The rain is really starting to come down hard. It's pounding, as a matter of fact, and that wind is whipping up. And that's exactly what people in this area don't want to be seeing right now. They don't want to see another drop of rain into the lake or the surrounding bays, and they don't want to see that wind pick up. Edgemere Drive, an absolute nightmare yesterday for many of the folks that live in that neighborhood. Take a look at the video. We're going to call that up right now so you can see just how bad it was out there. The winds whipped up these waves onto the decks of people's homes, almost breaking the break walls for some of those homes, water into their kitchens, into their living rooms. And this morning, that cleanup just continued as people worked to get that water out of their home. We talked to one homeowner. He said that he's already spent thousands of dollars, and he will probably have to spend thousands more when this is all said and done. But the problem is there's no time frame for when it will all be over. It could be another month with the same thing, same status quo, until the lake levels finally fall off.
One night we've taken considerable damage, and we'll try to patch that up. I understand this is forecast for 2 months. How long can we sustain it?
Yeah.
Immense value is being lost up and down the South Shore.
Well, Greg, who you just heard from there, says he's lived there for 20 years. He has never seen anything this catastrophic. Coming up at 5:30, we're going to hear from a business who right now is facing the fact that their business is flooding. It's filling up with water, and we'll have much more throughout the evening on 13 WHAM News. For now, we're live in Webster. Amy Hudak, 13 WHAM News.
The Lakeshore area now under a state of emergency as Governor Cuomo promises homeowners help is on the way. With more flooding expected over the next few days, the governor toured the area today. Now we have team coverage tonight of the flooding impact, where things could worsen. First, though, we're going to head out to 13 WHAM's Jim Madalinsky in Charlotte with more on how the state plans to help. Jim?
Don, it starts with a response team to help make sure messes like this here on Ontario Beach Park don't happen in and around people's homes. Along the lakeshore, you can see debris just scattered everywhere, and we've seen the water start to tear away at the beachfront here at the park. But still, the governor's saying today help in the form of water being released from the lake isn't expected to come anytime soon. The damage and debris scattered for miles in neighborhoods and here along Ontario Beach. With the worst still forecasted to come, Governor Andrew Cuomo declared a state of emergency Tuesday to try and stay ahead of the water.
Preparation is the key, right? You have to have all the equipment, all the personnel before the fact.
Part of that preparation included a specific request. Cuomo asking the International Joint Commission to release more water into Canada.
So they have turned down that request. I'm appealing that request, and I'm appealing to our federal delegation.
The IJC says water levels in Canada are also too high and to prepare for major flooding, leaving some to wonder how much more the area can take.
Honestly, there is no beach right now. It's only this little part. You're talking, you know what I mean, miles and miles of cleanup.
But I think that the people living in their homes need the help like ASAP.
Help, Cuomo says, is coming and will continue for as long as needed.
When things are at their worst is when New Yorkers are at their best.
Now, we did ask, and Cuomo says he did not support Plan 2014, but he added he's not sure if that is entirely to blame for all of this. He says he expects this to be the new normal and is calling on the DEC to come out and evaluate the lakeshore to see what can be done to prevent this from happening on the shoreline and to keep the people that live on it safe. Now, if you are in need of help in the meantime during this flooding, you can contact the DEC. There is a hotline working right now. We've set up a link to that on 13wham.com. We are live at Ontario Beach Park. Jim Madalinsky, 13 WHAM News.
You saw on Glenn's map there that arrow pointing right at Sodus and Sodus Point. That is why there are so many worries about those who live in that area, especially out in Wayne County. They have now been under a state of emergency for 2 weeks. 13 WHAM's Amy Hudak spent the day there. She joins us now with how people are preparing as the streets and yards begin to flood.
Don, these streets are flooded. We're along Gregg Street right now, and it is just a little bit of a pond right now. Cars are driving through some deep water. The sewer lines can't hold all of that water. It has nowhere to go. And as the winds pick up out here, we can see some of the waves start crashing up over the break wall and into the yards of some of these homes. This is the last thing these people want to see. Yards have become swimming pools as streets are overtaken by floodwaters.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Mike Sullivan got home from Costa Rica last night to sandbags lined all around the shore for nearly a mile.
And I've been here since 1976. So this is the worst.
He's furious about Plan 2014, but doesn't see the government taking action.
Like everybody else, I'm upset about it because our properties, our homes, our docks are very much at risk. I'm, getting close to calling a moving company to get all the furniture out of the first floor of my house.
Chris Froelich's street and yard are starting to fill with water.
The sewers are full and they're flowing out into the street. I know that our mayor and some of the selectmen went down to Washington to, see if they could get somebody to listen to us.
But she's fearful nothing will happen, calling out the governor for his inaction.
It's not just our town. There's a lot of towns that are facing these problems. And we have a whole month to go, they say, before the water table comes down.
The IJC, the International Joint Commission, which regulates how much water is let out of Lake Ontario and into Canada, says they're actually decreasing the amount of water they're letting out of the lake, which is disappointing news for all of the folks who live here in Sodas Point, as well as many of the homes on lake property. For now, it is just a waiting game. They say all they can do is sandbag and be prepared. We're live in Sodas. Amy Hudak, 13 WHAM News.
Little relief, if any, for people along Lake Ontario. Powerful waves with more rain to come. A flood warning now in effect through 2 a.m. Saturday.
Well, it's flooded. It's this deep. No, it's this deep. The pump is not even coming close to it.
Great.
The wall broke in on the backside. It's coming in far and beyond comprehension.
Homeowners are hustling to keep up with the influx of water. That water shutting down a part of Edgemere Drive tonight. We are also checking in with a homeowner out in Hamlin who is trying a new method to try to save his home from being washed away. But our team coverage tonight begins with 13 WHAM's Justin Carter. He's out in Greece live now with some of the current conditions for us. Justin?
Don, it's so bad out here. You can just hear the waves just crashing against some of these break walls here in the town of Greece. We're here along Edgemere Drive. If you look out in the distance, I mean, it looks like the Atlantic Ocean out here. The waves sometimes 5 to 6 feet high. It's devastating to people who live here. I talked to a lot of homeowners even who said that if you were around during Hurricane Agnes in the early 70s, this is kind of comparable to the damage. We got some a look for you earlier in the afternoon of what we did as far as surveying the area. Many break walls along Edgemere Drive were built after that storm, Hurricane Agnes, and these waves are just socking them hard. In some parts, break walls have completely crumbled, and because of that, water is flooding into homes, driveways, spilling into the nearby Buck Pond as well as Long Pond. Certainly concerning as we inch closer to the weekend and more wind is ahead.
You have to attend to these pumps, you have to tend to the sandbags. I mean, I'm glad I was here. I took off a little early actually yesterday. My boss is pretty understanding, and it's vacation day. I'd rather be, you know, sitting out on a boat fishing or something and not sandbagging.
It's hard to sleep through the night because the minute you hear a wave pound, you're up, you're out looking at your yard. So I've had many sleepless nights.
Just not a decent way to live in fear. They are definitely concerned. They say that they're going to kind of congregate tonight at Cinco de Mayo, so they're going to take a load off, take a break from sandbagging. We did reach out to Shaler's restaurant. It's off Edgemere. They say that they're not closed. They're not experiencing any flooding, but they do say that they are experiencing a little lull in business right now because of sections of Edgemere Drive is closed. And Pelican's Nest, too, we reached out to them as well and stopped by. They also had to close because their parking lot was flooded, and they're taking the necessary measures to make sure business is up and running by weekend. We're live here in Greece tonight. Justin Carter, 13 WHAM News.
Certainly a lot of personal stories that we are sharing tonight. A Hamlin home, for example, just feet from the edge of Lake Ontario, now closer to falling in and being washed away. The town is now asking the Davis family to turn off their power, lock up, and simply get out. And as Amy Hudak tells us tonight, another storm pounding the shore, already adding to that devastating situation for many.
The town of Hamlin is bringing in concrete barriers to prevent the flow of water flooding into streets. But for some families like the Davises, there's nothing they can do to stop the erosion and raging waters of Lake Ontario. Rick Davis's home is on the edge, just feet from being washed into the lake.
The town of Hamlin yesterday actually called me, told me shut off the power, lock up the house and stay away.
Erosion is slowly wearing down the land he's trying to protect with a tarp. But he fears what high winds and strong waves will do over time.
There's nothing we can do to stop it. We just have to kind of wait out Mother Nature, let it calm down, and try to rebuild once it's all done. And hopefully I'll have something to rebuild.
The Davises, like many who live on the lakeshore, say this storm with the wind and the rain is the last thing they want to see as waves continuously pound the shore and water inches closer to their home. They say for now, all they can do is wait it out. In Hamlin, Amy Hudak, 13 WHAM News.
Well, now to a fishy situation along the lakeshore. Homeowners say large amounts of fish, dead and alive, just popping up everywhere. 13 WHAM's Justin Carter popping up now in Greece as well with some new information from the DEC tonight. Justin?
Well, Don, we're giving you an aerial view from the 13 WHAM sky window of Goodwin Park. Last spring, this was a normal park. This was a normal playground. It was completely dry. Now it's underwater, and because of that, it's the fish now who are coming out to play. Jordan Cruz out fishing with his family in Long Pond. He says it's a good year for fish and chips.
It's good for fishing. It's not good for the residents.
Bonnie Pagel counted as many as 24 carp at a time, splashing around in her now soggy front yard in Hamlin.
I'm concerned, but I think with the ecological problems, something's going to give, and I think this is just one of them that's given.
Pagel says it's a coincidence of everything happening at once. A rainy spring, lake levels high. Fish have more room to roam.
Lots of people are stopping by and staring and taking pictures. I'll get a booth out here, sell tickets.
13 WHAM reached out to the DEC. They've been fielding calls and telling concerned residents to simply throw away dead fish in the garbage if they start to appear. They say the ones that are stranded are likely trying to find their way back to an open body of water.
We have fish. We have carp over by the radio tower, and it's been entertaining for the firemen.
Lakeshore Fire Chief James O'Coin says flooded streets and damaged homes, not a laughing matter. He'll leave the fish problem on the back burner for now and let the DEC handle it.
Lake is still high, the ponds are still high, so it's something that every day we're watching and just keeping an eye on.
And the DEC adds that your best bet at this point is just let those fish be alone and just let nature take its course. We're live here in the town of Greece tonight along Long Pond Road. I'm Justin Carter, 13 WHAM News.
We begin tonight with an aerial view from the 13 WHAM sky window of what is left of the Lake Ontario beach, and it's not much.
It's terrible. A lot of smudge coming up, and I hope the county and the state can do something, you know.
Now, about half the beach in Charlotte is washed away. 13 WHAM's Carlette Claire there now to tell us what the county is doing about it. Carlette?
Don, this is definitely a much different look than many people in Rochester know of this beach. If you look, the water levels are almost right up to the boardwalk. And according to the county, they don't plan to recover the amount of beach that's been lost. Puddles of standing water cover what's left of Charlotte Beach. Half of it is washed away, making it hard to find a dry spot to walk or lie on.
It's kind of disheartening, to be honest. Mid-May, you think this is the time to go to the beach.
Oh my God. Like, Mother Nature is tough. It's very tough. But hey, it's, you know, the way it is, I guess.
It's so devastatingly different, people are marveling and taking pictures.
As bad as it sounds, it looks cool.
County workers have been cleaning up an unprecedented amount of debris, including bottles and cans washed up on shore. And watch your step on the pier as water splashes up there, making for a slippery walk. With the lake continuing to rise, who knows how much beach will be left in the coming months. So will the county build back the beach to its normal width?
No, it's a natural beach. So what you see is what you get.
For now, everyone's just holding their breath, hoping it goes away.
Swimming here at Charlotte Beach begins on June 23rd, the regular volleyball season on June 5th. The county says whether there's a sliver or 50% of this beach left, swimming will be open. But as for Durand Beach, that has been postponed because of significant erosion. Live at Charlotte Beach, Carlette Claire, 13 WHAM News.
I can sit and watch that drone all day long. The public boat launch, by the way, at Irondequoit Bay Marine Park in Seabreeze is temporarily closed because of the flooding. That launch has become flooded with debris. The dock is mostly underwater. Some relief, you say? Well, state Senate Republicans have introduced a bill that would create a $55 million fund to provide direct help to homeowners and businesses impacted by the flooding along the lakeshore and the bay.
You know, it's going to take some time here, and people are hurting. We want to make sure that we're doing the right thing for them.
Yeah, homeowners could receive up to $15,000 in individual grants, that to help with flood-related damage.
We're not looking for a free handout, but hand in hand something, but to save our houses.
The town of Greece says they hear those concerns of homeowners hardest hit from the rising Lake Ontario, and they are doing something about it. Within the last half hour, the Greece Town Board adopted a resolution asking Monroe County to pursue a lawsuit against the IJC over that ongoing flood damage related to the high levels of Lake Ontario. We have a live look right now at the lake. This is from Edgemere Drive from our 13 Sky window, one of the worst hit areas as you look at it there. 13 WHAM's Amy Hudak joining us now to tell us neighbors say they need some help in cleaning up and rebuilding. Amy?
Don, these neighbors say they are losing everything. Their break walls are gone, their front yards are gone. They have pumps running 24/7 trying to get water out of their homes. They say they are now calling on the state and the town to help them and to give them direct financial assistance to rebuild and clean up. State officials toured areas of Greece still underwater Wednesday morning.
They're having a blast in our yards.
Richard Albright's backyard, now a breeding ground for carp, was one of their stops.
When there's a northeast wind, we just get nailed on both sides. The waves pounding on our break wall, the waves break over the break wall into our yard against the house. We certainly would like to see the state pass the pending legislation that gives us homeowners some relief from all of the damages we're incurring.
Neighbors say there's some talk about bringing in a barge to put boulders along the shoreline, protecting homes from the water of Lake Ontario.
Bringing in those boulders to give us all a little more protection on our break walls would be extremely helpful. It's expensive. So again, if the state can pass that relief legislation, that would really be helpful to us.
Bill Joyce says wooden boards are his home's only protection.
It just goes back down, so it saves the house.
His break wall came crumbling down over the weekend.
You know, Mother Nature is a very strong, powerful force.
He says the state needs to step up and help homeowners rebuild the break walls they once had.
It's nice to be able to figure out what they're going to, if they're going to do something to so that we can try to rebuild these walls. We're not looking for a free handout, but hand in hand something, but to save our houses.
Another neighbor said the town is working to get homeowners low-interest loans to clean up and repair. But many say it's just too late. The meeting here at Greece Town Hall only lasted 5 minutes before the town supervisor said the town board did approve that motion to start to pursue legal action against the IJC. That's the International Joint Commission who oversees the levels of Lake Ontario and how much is let out of the lake. Many people here say that it was welcome news, but they say they still need help. And with another lakeshore warning in effect for tomorrow, they say they are just bracing for another round. Live in Greece, Amy Hudak, 13 WHAM News.
A state of emergency has been issued for the town of Greece as the waters of Lake Ontario continue to rise. This comes as we learn about the first home to be evacuated due to flooding on Edgemere Drive.
It hits me every time I walk in of what I'm faced with. And it's not going to be an easy road, but step by step.
Yeah, step by step. The area again under a lakeshore flood watch as neighbors along the lake brace for more flooding and damage. Amy Hudak live now on Edgemere Drive with news of that first home to be evacuated. Amy?
Don, that's right. Steve Hicks' home was evacuated, and this is the reason why. These winds just whipping up these waves. We are on the second floor. We're on the deck of a home on Edgemere Drive, and we're actually getting wet up on the second floor. The winds are powerful. They are not letting up, and we really have never seen anything like this in all of the storms so far. Just the force of these winds and the force of the waves. But that's the reason Steve Hicks had to lock up and evacuate. Steve Hicks walks back into his home of 18 years, a home he won't be living in anymore.
The water first came in and my utility room actually popped up through the floor. And it was like a small geyser in there.
The water rushed in until Steve says it covered every inch of every floor.
It just filled up, pump couldn't keep up with it.
The town inspector told RG&E to shut off the power and for Steve to lock up. He's now packing his entire home into a moving pod and dreading what will soon become demolition day.
It hits me every time I walk in of what I'm faced with.
Neighbors like Bill Joyce say this spring on the lake have been anything but the charm of years past.
We've completely lost track of days. Memorial Day was like just another day to us, and it's too bad because, you know, summer's so short here. But
Neighbors on Edgemere Drive are preparing for the worst while hoping Mother Nature shifts the winds in their favor. Right now, it's not looking like these winds are shifting in anyone's favor. The waves are just pounding. We have really never seen anything like this. They are not letting up. And for folks on Edgemere Drive, including Bill Joyce, whose home we're at right now, he lost his break wall. So this is a whole other waiting game to see how well his home fares. For now, it's just a wait and see. We're live on Edgemere Drive. Amy Hudak, 13 WHAM News.
All right. Hey, thank you, Amy. Devastating out there. Out in Penfield, there's now a tiger dam in place. This is on Empire Boulevard to prevent the water from spilling into the road from Irondequoit Bay. That's that low-lying area there. The temporary dams are staked in. They kind of work as a large one-unit sandbag to serve as a buffer between the water and the road.